Welcome back to the Tide Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the weekly news and review for May 24th of 2020. A lot of great things to talk about today, so let's get right into it. So I want to start out by talking about a few things that you could get at Show Z right now. And I like to look for some deals or some oddball kind of stuff. But right now you could get this fourth party KO version of the MP08S Grimlock oversized chrome version. This is the same mold as the original Masterpiece one, the Takara one, but it's upscaled, and I really feel like the upscaled mold fits in well with the modern day Giga Power stuff. And it works really well. Maybe if you don't want to get the Giga, or maybe if you like the super shiny, I like super shiny, but if you like the super shiny version, it's about 118. I still think it's a pretty good looking figure. The mold itself's not bad, it just was a little bit too small. Next up we have a fourth party or KO of the Beast Wars Black Arachnia, and I should be getting this one eventually. It's only about what, $65 instead of $140, so you're saving quite a bit of money if you go this route. I'm interested in checking it out and seeing the quality on all that stuff. And also, they got in their recolored version of the MMC Azalea. Now, this is the Masterpiece RC, and she looks pretty good. We're going to see a little bit more about her coming up here in just a second, but it's a good looking option of RC, and for, what, $87? Not bad. Okay, so slide right into some Masterpiece news here. You could get your RC for $120, maybe a little bit less than $120 through Amazon Japan. So if you're interested in this figure, interested in this character, then go to Amazon Japan. They will sell out on Amazon Japan. And the problem with that is there might be another seller selling it on Amazon Japan. It's not actually the official Amazon Japan. Therefore, they probably won't ship to your country. So get it right now, and then get fast shipping and get it for $120. I mean, if you think it's going to be worth $120, you're going to enjoy it. I went and did mine. I got mine pre-ordered, and that's the best route so far. Seeing as how we were just talking about the Azalea and that it's coming in at Show Z, here's a comparison pic between these two. I thought it was pretty cool that I came across this. And one thing I noticed is that the MMC version versus the Takara version is that the smaller backpack on there, and so noticing that, like, Takara's backpack is much bigger, but when you look at both of them, they both have pluses and minuses back and forth. I like the smooth contour, and I guess you could say less line work on Takara than Azalea, and then even though the chest is not positioned what I would feel is the correct position for Takara, I like that it's smoother and it looks more accurate in the whole design of it if it was lifted up higher, versus Azalea with this just having some sort of a collapsing thing going on there. So there's pluses and minuses to each one. Can't wait to have them both in hand and do comparisons. So Planet X with their PX06 Vulcan is coming out with a G2 version of their Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. Now, they've had two other versions already, two other iterations, and so this thing does look pretty close to and pretty accurate to the Fall of Cybertron version. Here he is in his alt mode, and again, I just really think a lot of people display their Dinobots in Dino mode the most, and so it's really important to have a good Dino mode, and this does look like the game. Fans Hobby is showing some pictures of the prototype of their Armada Megatron, and it does look like an Armada Megatron. So here's what kind of gets me. They're showing size of the Naval Commander in millimeters. Like, usually it's centimeters, but this comes to a little under, the Naval Commander itself is a little under 8 inches according to the conversion. I actually thought it was a lot bigger than that, but that would put this thing around 10 inches, maybe 11 inches tall, with that little comparison they have there. But a pretty cool looking figure nonetheless. Here he is in his tank mode, and you know, there's a lot of discussion about will we ever see any sort of Megatron in a gun mode aside from just the third-party and masterpiece realm, and I bet you not. So tank is for Megatron from this point forward. So we have more pictures of Sound Blaster from Magic Square, and it's a really cool looking bot. It's also the same mold they used for Soundwave. You can get this right now at Show Z for like 38, 39 bucks. And here is the back view of him, and he does look good. Looks clean. This figure cleans up nicely. Some more things I want to talk about with this guy. Look at the side. Okay, this is a Legend scale figure, really small, and it's got all these little dials and knobs and stuff. I don't know if any of it works, if it's just purely for looks, but I still think that's pretty cool. The attention to detail is really something that Magic Square did a good job with. Here's the cassette in his chest, and again, how small these are. How small the figure is, how small the cassette is. I find that to be very impressive. Got a couple more pictures of Magic Square's Megatron, the accessories, stuff that it comes with, and I don't know, I'm guessing the gun's not completely painted yet, so there's more work to be done, but they're showing some progress, and you know, I think their design for a Megatron is the best. I really do. I think it's going to be even better than Agamemnon, and New Age Agamemnon is a great figure. I think Magic Square is going to be even better. So here we are with some more accessories, and just kind of the obligatory stuff here. Now, I'm betting this guy's going to be well into the $50 mark. All these extra little pieces are going to come at a price. So Jin Bao is making a KO oversize of the Agamemnon, and that's kind of crazy. It's going to be about a half an inch taller, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't have like the EX paint. It's kind of a flat look to it, flat plastic. Maybe there will be some paint to it. I don't know. Maybe this is an early one, but it's pretty cool, and it's only going to be like 30 instead of 50. So again, for those of you who don't know that Zeta and Toy World were sort of one and the same and now split off, Zeta's on their own. This is a Toy World design of a Legends scaled version of Fort Max, and Zeta, I guess, has it. And I'm thinking, from looking at these pictures, they're doing that extra paint that they were doing for a while with a more metallic look. And they were just making all the Toy World ones with a metallic paint scheme. I think that's what's going on here. And if you missed out on this on the first run, I think the price had shot up on the Toy World version. So getting it from Zeta, not only are you going to get it for, you know, a regular price, not a crazy aftermarket price, you're going to get a better paint job. I think it looks awesome. Here he is in his alt mode, and it's a better angle of the paint too. You can see the glistening of it. But I think that the first version was a good version, the one that Toy World did. But I think this is going to be a much better looking piece on your shelf. I'm definitely going to have to get this one. So if you're into collecting the Earthrise stuff, or even if you're into collecting Siege with repaints, well, this stuff's all showing up at Walmart, this Siege with repaint stuff. Now, I have to admit, none of mine actually have this display, this whatever you call these mod displays, but I've seen the figure showing up at all of my Walmarts, and you know, Walmart exclusives kind of hit pretty heavy. Out of all this, I think the Hot Link is the most sought after out of all these, and I think he does look good. So I would have got him myself, but check your Walmarts if you're looking for these. So it appears that there is a picture of a sleep version Optimus Prime coming for Earthrise. Let's just be honest, he's not sleeping. He's dead. So it's the dead version of Optimus Prime. He's not sleeping. Anyhow, I'm not sure a whole lot about this. It's just a picture shows up and everyone's talking about this picture. So is it going to come as some sort of exclusive? Is it just going to just be put out there? I know people that are still looking to get an Earthrise Prime that haven't gotten one, that they can't find it. I don't know why it's so hard to find just the standard one, but now I guess you'll have two options. Alright, looking real quick at some upgrade kits from Shockwave's lab, and I have a few things to say about these upgrade kits, but for whatever reason we got a bomb and a propeller looking thing, and here is what it looks like on Ironworks. So that's cool. I mean, it's an extra little add-on. It's something that you didn't have before. Of course, no pricing just yet, but I'm assuming $20. That sounds about right. Also with a Megatron, you get a mace, the Energon mace, and you can, according to them, this add-on plugs into the hand, and then you can plug in blast effects to this add-on. So that's something that they have done. But also, here's what I'm thinking, like, you're gonna spend $30 on a figure, 20, 23 or whatever on this upgrade kit. I just don't get it. I don't understand how people are gonna buy a $20 or $30 figure and spend almost that much on upgrade kits. Now I do understand sometimes, okay, we want them to look the best that we could, but I mean, we're getting close to masterpiece pricing when you start adding upgrade kits to these guys. So that really kind of blows my mind, and I would assume an upgrade kit would be a whole lot cheaper. They're not. They're expensive, and so I kind of have an issue with some of these upgrade kits. Speaking of upgrade kits, here is this DNA DK17 Gearmaster accessory. Now I have to admit, this is a gigantic gun. It's massive. It's huge. It's kind of cool. Again, there's not pricing on it just yet, so I don't know how much this big giant gun's gonna cost, but it is massive. So there's some pictures in this Transformers Generations 2020 that's showing Unicron. I have to admit, this picture really does make this HasLab Unicron look amazing. And here's another picture that just kind of shows more of the face. But here we go, it's showing all the different angles, and of course, like, all of the Unicron haters are gonna come out, and this exposes the weakness of the figure with the back and the back of the side of the legs and all of that. But it is what it is. It's gonna be massive, it's gonna be huge. Here's the faces, the many different faces of Unicron, and you know, the details on, like, what the eye movement and all that kind of stuff, that's just, it's cool to get to see that. And it's cool that they actually made detail behind that faceplate, so you can actually see it. And I do believe this is the first time we saw an actual picture of the small ship and the figures. Prior to this, we only saw renders, I believe. Because, I mean, look through my pictures, I don't have any actual prototype pictures. So the little Rodimus or Hot Rod and the Galvatron and the ship, those were just renders, like CAD design, not actual prototypes. And this is the actual prototype. So every time there's a combiner that's getting made, I always have in the back of my mind wondering, is there going to be a box set down the road? And it looks like we're getting a Studio Series Devastator box set, and there is still question about what's going to be different about it. There's supposed to be something different about it, and the price on this is going to be 233 pounds. So I mean, that would convert over, I'm not going to do the conversion just yet, but that's still a pretty hefty price for what you get with the Studio Series Devastator. But there's talk that it might even have a G1 paint scheme, which would be really cool. I mean, would that be just all green? That'd be an interesting look to it. So I usually don't go after talking about super deformed kind of figures, but this is a Mastermade SDT07 Gen Hero EX, and it actually does transform. And so one of those things like the super deformed and bobbleheads and those kinds of things, like, that's not for me. But this thing actually does transform. So usually when I see something like that, it's just like a statue-esque kind of thing, and I kind of leave it for the people that are really excited for that kind of stuff. But this one transforms into this, and so I don't see that very often, which is why I kind of think this is something a little bit special. And this does actually transform, and it transforms into sort of a super deformed mode of the alt mode 2. So that's pretty cool. And we're getting more pictures of this. It's called a Xiaomi store exclusive Transformer Optimus Prime. And so the thing about this is that it is kind of a build your own figure deal. And this Optimus Prime, of course, it's not available to order in the US, so I really don't know how we'd get our hands on it. But I do think because it is Optimus Prime and it is a little bit something different, then it's something interesting to talk about and to have a look at. I'm just curious when we're going to start seeing pictures of people customizing it, because you do build it, so you could probably have many different configurations. That's what I would think. So this week is a really light week of Star Wars news, and if you're into getting the retro collection stuff, then check your Walmarts. They're sort of showing up, but not hitting as hard as I would think they would as a Walmart exclusive kind of deal. But online retailers, the ones that I've seen, are charging $100 for a set plus shipping and all that. So it's going to be an expensive set to get. And Walmart is already sending out late arrival notices that they're having to delay it, and they're even canceling some pre-orders. So I've heard a lot of this stuff going on. I'm not sure what's so hard about getting these figures made. I know in the first run, last year's retro collection, you could still get it on online retailers. It sold out. It was hard to get. And then they did another production run. So 6 months later, flooded the market with them. I don't know if they're going to do the same with these or not, but it just seems so hard to get your hands on them already. So there's this Igloo ice chest, and it's kind of a cool looking 40th anniversary type of Empire Strikes Back one with some coloring on it. But the interesting part is it's an old retro design. I don't know if you guys remember having this design of an Igloo cooler when you were younger, but I've noticed a lot of modern day designs for these kinds of things. This is super retro, not just in the pictures, but in the design of it. And IG-11, FH Figuarts version. So obviously it's going to be kind of expensive, but Bandai with their SH Figuarts is making this one. Anyhow, it's basically an IG-88 in SH Figuarts, and I think it looks cool. It looks good. Not enough pictures yet, but I'm sure it'll have great posability, great presence on your shelf. It'll look good. And this character, I always liked IG-88, and I think they did a really good job with IG-11 character-wise. So all the fan sites are really getting together, and they are fighting for the vintage collection. And there's this big fear, and that we're going to lose the 3.75 inch, or that it's just going to get neglected, ignored. And with the buzz in the community basically telling Hasbro, we don't want the new 2.5 inch or whatever you're making, and we want vintage collection, and put the resources towards what we actually want to buy, and not a bunch of other junk that's going to hang on the shelves until it goes to clearance. I'm not really sure why Hasbro likes to keep playing with new sizes and scales and doing stuff. They have a winning formula with the vintage collection and their Black Series. Focus on those two, but they keep straying away, and I can see it too. I can see what they're saying. The whole community is worried that the vintage collection will go away a lot sooner than it should, and we won't get everything out of it that we should have. So fight for the vintage collection, and do whatever you can. There's a petition to sign and all that great stuff. Let me know what you think about this week's weekly news and review. What else is going on out there in the world? Like, subscribe, Tiberium Hanger out.